Hello, people. You one, what's up? Hey mate. Well, today I'm going to do some study work on looking at checking back in position as a pre-flop aggressor. I've been a bit too messed up, and I've seen my gameplay lately. I'm becoming so much better now at defending the big blind. That's what I mean by that is when I'm in the big blind and I face a c-bet, I have a good idea how my range looks, what's the bottom of my range, how far up I defend, what the bottom of a c-bet range looks like. So it's quite easy for me to just think, oh, here we go, you can bet this, you should fold. It's time now to make it the same wariness when I'm in position as the pre-flop aggressor. Because at this moment in time, I'm far too button clicky. Whether it be just clicking a c-bet in a pure guess, I can range c-bet, or checking back nuts in a pure guess, or we have to check back capped, uncapped here, or checking back value just in the guess that I want to do it. And I want to now be more well organized and understand how to check back properly. And it works differently on different boards. So here's 4 boards where we can show you it. This one here, 9-6-3, big blind under the gun, it's got a check back range. This board here, Ace King 6, big blind low jack, has got a check back range. And then you've got this one here, 8-7-6, big blind versus cut off. And finally this board here, 6-6-6-5-5, and it's basically big blind versus button, and they've all got the button doing a check back, but how it checks back is different on different boards. If we look at this Ace King 6, the button has got, the low jack. The low jack has got a strong advantage over the big blind on this board, but it is finding checks. Why? Well, my understanding of it is these King X hands and these pairs here, like queens, jacks, tens, don't achieve anything as a bet on this board. If we put it on full screen, here we check back King X's and weak Ace X's, and if you look at it, when we bet with these hands, these are starting to fold. And so when we go bigger, King X regions are folding. All the pairs are pure fold. And when that's the case, it seems pointless, therefore, betting with our King X combos and pairs and weak Ace X's, because they just dominate, and all they do is they make dominating hands fold and dominated hands call. But what you can say, one final about that, we are more or less checking back very much capped. I mean, pocket aces is a premium hand, but really it's just weak Ace X's and King X's that check back here on this flop. Then of course over here we've got 9-6-3, big blind UTG. Again, there's a check back range. When you look at this one, and it's asymmetric, you can see we have maybe got a strong advantage at the very top, and the trash, it's just this little middling region here where the equities are close. And so again, when you look at this range, this is another range which checks back, and it tends to check back the middle region. Aces, kings, queens, jacks, ace 9, they all bet. There's a bit of pocket nines that do check back, but we are very, very capped if you look at it. When we look at what checks, so much of our range that is checking back is basically a capped range. there's not much check back with nuts. Then we've got this board here, 665. Here you could say this is a board whereby the big blind has either got nuts or garbage. And so when you look at it, I guess the way it works here is, again, we mostly do bets, but there is a little bit of check back, and we do a little bit more of an uncapped check back range. We aren't checking back as capped as we have on that 9, 6, 3 and Ace King 3. And I think the difference there is the big blind has got the nut advantage over us. As again, we look at ranges there. The big blind has got the trip advantage, the full house advantage, even the quads advantage is in favour of the big blind. Basically, the big blind has got the advantage over us. So therefore, because of big blind having the nut advantage, we do not want to be checking back as capped as we can on Ace King 3 and 9, 6, 3. And to do this check back range, we then will look at how do we check back. It's protection basis. Pocket aces there is basically going to do the most checks back, then kings, then queens, but then these lower ones, they start wanting to do more betting for protection, because these want to start denying equity and charging the 6x's and high cards before they fold. 6x hands, it looks like it's all about which ones gain protection and that and want to keep worse. Ace King, sorry, Ace 6, King 6, bet to a large degree. Queen 6, Jack 6 is doing a lot of checking. And when I look at the 10, 6, 9, 6, we do betting with the back doors. But the point is, we do have to be a bit more uncapped. And the final board, of course, 8, 7, 6. This is again a board where when you look at the ranges, they are super close all the way in this board. And the big blind has got a straight advantage over us, but only slightly. 2 pair is in the big blind's favour. Top pair is in the big blind, second pair is big blind, third pair is the big blind. So the big blind has got like a strong advantage, which helps make the EVs close. And because of that, again, we need to be checking back a more uncapped range. So pocket aces, then kings, then queens. They're going to be the way it works as far as checks. Aces needs least protection, kings needs least protection, queen doesn't need much. Jacks will do more bets, 10s will do more bets, 9s will do lots. And with the 8x, our strongest 8 does the most betting. Our weaker 8s do checks, and the same with the 7x's. And then of course, with the low pairs, it's basically nearly all check apart from 5s, which has got nice draws. But as we say, there's more check backs here, again with premium hands, because of the fact the big blind has got more. And I'm going to now look at some of my hands in game, and I want to start thinking about my own gameplay and if I should be checking back. So let's look at this one. So here, 9, 7, 2. Low jack versus big blind. Well, first and foremost, you could say low jack does not have 9x's very much. It's got some suited ones, but that's it. And I believe therefore this could be a board we will find check backs. But the big blind doesn't have that much premium value in its range. It's got loads of garbage still. So I believe we can check back in a capped way. And would Pocket Freeze check back? I get the feeling it would, because loads of draws are going to call which have got decent equity versus freeze. The calling range is basically more often made up of draws. And let's have a look in the solver and see what it does. So big blind versus low jack at 100 big blinds. And whilst this is loading, and if you don't have GTO Wizard, you should check it out, people, because this is a great tool at helping you understand your game. And with the Elite, you can chop and change all sorts and get more awareness of bet size. So here's the low jacks gameplay. And well, you've got basically a small bet game, but you've also got an over bet game. So when you look at this one, we could bet small with some of these hands, but checking's okay. And if I went to make it one size, I think then we probably will be going over bet check, if I'm correct, because we'll just be betting premium. Oh no, I guess the 2 makes it that. But anyway, I mean, we saw back when we did, we have to do a check, but looks like I was wrong to check it back. Maybe if it's a 4, that's when it might be more. So yeah, I guess it's just a deuce is a crap card. Now that is something which is super complicated. But anyway, back to in-game. I've checked back this flop. The 10 is a good card for my range. This is the next thing I need to think. The 10 is a good card for my range, but it's not too good. It would be brilliant for hijack, because hijack has 10x, but with the low jack we only have a few 10x and a few extra draws and gut shots. The big blind, however, has 10x offsuit. So when he bets, now then, do we have to call here or do we fold? Well, if you think about it, I'm checking back on this flop with a capped range. I don't have much in the way of premium hands, so I am sure I have to call more capped. What hands would be a good call? Well, I imagine Ace King, Ace Queen would be a better preference over freeze, because I've got 2 overs to the 9. King Queen, Queen Jack, they are probably better as well because they've got the gut shots. Also some flushes do it. We've got some turned flush draws, sorry. So I believe this can go into the muck pile. I mean, we don't have it in this thing. So what I'll do is I'll make it a 2, and I'm going to give the low jack a better size. I'm going to do the overbet size so that the low jack has got a checking range. And so yeah, here we go. The 10 of hearts on the turn. I mean, my opponent should be probably going much bigger than he does. But here we go with the 10. And well, he uses that size. Well, that would be too small. So we went 50%. Roughly, that's the size he's used. Yeah. So here we go. Like we said, Well, surprisingly, ace king is folding here. Pocket threes is a heavy mix, but we do call some. But what I did say, these broadways are going to be the ones that really call. King queen, king jack, queen jack, ace jack. The ones that have all got a draw. We have got those little bits of 10x's, our 9x's which still check back as well as pocket 8s. And when we look at it, threes is our crappiest of pairs, so that's going to fold. But we can't fold it all. And if it does call, well, let's see, heart do it. So mine should be mixing, but folding is okay. Right. Is the checkbacks on this board? Think about it. We've got Jack X suited. So no, I highly doubt there should be checking back on this board here. I mean, when I look at it, we open Jack X's. So we've got trips in our range. Our middling hands, aka ace king, ace queen, middle pairs and weak pairs, can gain protection as a bet. And it can get value from ace high. So I think this is a bad check back by me. So let's have a look at it. Low jack first, big line, 100 big B. Anyone else think it's a check? Of course, if you've got any questions, just ask in the chat. And also check out GTO Wizard. So, come on, man. Did I don't like to check myself. On a high paired board like Jack 7-7, no. I think it would be different if it's a board like Ace 7-7, one high card and two low cards. I think the difference is if it's one high card and two low cards, some of our pairs and we ace X's don't achieve anything as a bet because they just fold out everything worse and get caught by everything they dominate. I don't know why it's taking so much time, but on this board here, nah, there's no way I should be checking back. Shame GTO Wizard is taking so long. I'm going to close all these other ones. So I've just got the one open now. And let's see. Yep, I was dreadful. And let's see if my feel is right. If I make that ace 7-7, I think now there might be more checks. Yes. But the way I look at it, this is the difference. The big blind range is either absolute shit hands here or absolute premium hands there. I mean, it's got the ace there. So when we look at it, I mean, what big blind there, ace 4. So these are all the ace X's. Then you've got the trips. And then they've got that little bit there of the full house. And the point is, if we bet on there, look what happens. We will see when we bet on ace 7-7, we're gonna strip away everything. The big blind has become already an ace, X, a trip, and some king high. But the point is, we just narrowed down the range too quick. But on this board here, sorry, wrong colour, Jack 7. I mean, it's a whole different story. I mean, now the big blind has just got some of these hands here, but it's still got lots and lots of high cards, and basically our value region like ace king, king queen, all of these hands here gain protection because we bet, and we can basically already start falling out lots and lots of high cards. Also, we can get value from ace high, king queen, king 10, and our marginal hands like the weaker pairs can get value from these, and the runouts are good for us. So yeah, it's a pure check by me. So now this one, I think this is an interesting spot. Button versus big blind. Now there could be some check backs here, but if we do check back, it would be very capped. But you could also argue we might be able to range bet because so much of our value wants protection. So button versus big blind on Jack 10-4. Well, that's looking. Does anyone else think we're going to be check backs on this flop, or do you think we'll be range betting? I mean, it feels super close to me. I think there's probably going to be a possible check back creeping in, but we'll do lots of bets. So yeah, it's basically a lot of betting. It's close to our range, and I think my thinking is our 10x's gain value as a protection bet, our jack x's gain value as a protection bet, and so when we do bet this size, what the hell? So that's what it's like. So that's actually what it is. It's a range bet. For some reason it didn't show up before. But by the looks of it, I guess it's our 10x's and that, which are basically the middle ends of our range. They tend to want to be betting here to get value before the equity shifts of a later street come out. I mean, let's see, what is the middle of our range there? Button there with pocket fives, ace high, sevens. So let's advance, and all of these hands here, this 50 to 60 and that. So the 10x's there, I guess they gain the benefit of being able to bet for value and get called by words before an overcard or something like that rolls out and stuff. And they can also charge all of the one card back doors on the flop and get value from them. And then these lower ones here, these can deny equity, and the ace highs can basically become our bluff. So I shouldn't have checked it, but I did. So he's bet. Now there's no way I can fold this now. And then on the river, it's easy. This board here, well, we don't have a pair here, but here is a board I'm pretty certain we want to have check backs. The big blind has got a 6x offsuit in his range. He's got 4x suited in his range, some 4x offs. The button, however, is just covered in ace highs. It's got very, very little 4x's. Most of its 6x's are going to be the suited region. It's only got probably ace 6 and king 6 off. So there'll be a lot of checkbacks here. And it wouldn't surprise me if the big blind can do donking on this flop. So, how much check back do you think there'll be? I'd say about 40%. Well, go on, Craig. I didn't know that, but 40% check backs. And when I look at it, how do we check back for value? Well, we are checking back quite uncapped. Aces, kings, queens, the more protection, so the least protection they need, the more they're going to do checks. Aces has less overcards, but sevens has got a lot of overcards, so there's more equity to denial by betting pocket sevens, whereas pocket aces is happy to just check back and probably go for it on good turns. We have a little bit 6x check back. King 6, 7 6 does it. And I imagine the reason 7 6 will probably do the most check backs here is because they would like to probably cooler the trips and keep more floats in play. Because if a 7 comes on the turn, boom, the big blind's got 4x, 5x's, 3x's and 8x's. He's got all of them one card draws that can do barreling. And then if they bink a river, bang, there could be some bets. So they probably get the best benefit of basically checking back. And when I look at the 4x's and that, it's these middle and ones that do the checks. Unless of course they've got the back door. I mean, our actual hand, well, I think that'll check back because I think we'll want a heart. Well, here it's basically an ace of diamond or ace of spade, or a spade, heart, spade, heart. The ones which seem to do the most check back by the looks of it are the clubs or the low diamonds. So we want a high diamond like an ace of diamond or both offsuits. I mean, it's hard to tell why some aces do it and some don't. But I guess my best guess with ace 5 is that the 5 has the benefit of being able to do more barreling on later streets and stuff with a backdoor straight. And unblocking the folds and stuff will do it. So my combo would probably do some betting, but checking's okay. Of course, you've got to do some betting. You cannot check every ace high, which is the other mistake actually when you look at it. I could be over checking too many ace high. But a good way to look at it is, ace king is like a nice value bet. Ace 9, well, that would be the middling ace in my range. And when I look at suits, I mean, spades, hearts, spade, heart. Looks like spades and hearts are the crappiest ones for most of them. Unless, of course, it's ace king. There, clubs do it. But it is very hard. I mean, the 6 does not for me. I imagine on this turn there will be some checks, but remember we've checked back uncapped, and basically the 6 now reduces the big blind, so I imagine there could be some bet. As for this hand, would this hand bet? Probably not. I imagine me king highs will do the betting. But the crucial thing is, I am checking back uncapped on that flop. So here we go. So boom, there's way more betting on this turn than I thought. But if I start learning and understanding I am checking back uncapped, then I can clearly say to myself, right, we can do some betting on that turn, because you can start saying, well, we've got some pairs here which are checking back. The 4x's now can value bet, and look like the ace high hands want to do some value betting. And then let's see, 67%. King high still has to call. Weak ace high still has to call. And of course, he should not have too many 6x's or 4x's himself, because if my opponent is going to find a betting range, he's got to value bet 6x's and 4x's. So it makes sense when I look at it like this. So a great takeaway I'm gaining from this is to think first. We check back uncapped on that flop, therefore we've got value hands in our range on the turn, such as the over pairs, and because the third sixes come, 4x is now a value bet, and although it may look weak, the big blind has got to be betting his own 6x's and pairs, otherwise he can't bet at all. So it's not like he can have every single value hand. So I've missed this bet. Now I'm pretty sure we don't, but you could ask yourself again, could some ace highs be betting on that river? I imagine so, because he should not be checking many 9x's, that's for sure. He basically has got to bet 9x's on that river. So you could say some ace highs bet, but there is the flush, that's a problem. So I'll have to make the 9 a 9 of diamonds. And there we go. All these 9x's are betting. And it doesn't make sense why you would actually check your 9x, when at the end of the day they want to get value from ace high. Quads is a nutted hand, so that makes sense as a mix. Flushes and stuff, I guess again, they make sense as a mix because they nutted hands and stuff. Actually no, they not in this occasion. Basically the 9x's are the value hands which do not want to check raise, because if you bet, so if you check, your opponent bets and you raise, you are not getting value from ace high, you're just getting value from better hand. So just do the bet yourself and check with your quads. And then the button of course does bet, and it's basically these ace highs which are doing it. And are they doing us the value bet? It could be that they're bluffing. No, they value bet basically, because therefore when you look at it, there's not many king high in your opponent's range. I mean, he's not going to go all in, but I'll make it as more little a raise size, and let's just see if we find right about us bet folding our ace high. Yep, there we go. You can now break even and they fold. So again, makes sense. And if your opponent does show up with a 9, you can just mark it. Right, Queen 4-4. Could this be a range bet board? It feels interesting, because the big blind does have a queen, but there's not many 4x in that range. The big blind's not calling many 4x's, and we've got a narrow range. I have a feeling this could be a range bet board. If it was basically big blind versus late position, I think it would check. But let's have a look here. Big blind versus low jack on queen 4-4. Anyone predict we're going to have a check? I imagine if it is, it'll be 20%, but I can't see much. Well, we do. We have 30%. So let's have a look at the ranges. I guess the big blind that they've got, the complete and utter trash in its range. The Queen X hands, and then the 4x suited region, and it does have some 4x off. So let's have a look here. I guess things like pocket jacks, pocket 10s, pocket 9s. We bet ace high is already starting to fold, and when I look at it like that, it makes sense. Ace high is doing it. Some might say, but you're getting value from these flush draws. Well, the truth is, we're not getting value from flush draws on this flop. I mean, you can argue we're not getting it, but pocket jacks are not going to go big on this flop here. If they bet, they'll go 25% or 33%. And when you go small, you're basically just giving your opponent odds of like 20 to 30%. That's what I say. No, it's 20%. That's the odds. Your opponent has odds of 20% or even 15%, but it is really small when you go the super small size. And flush draws have got the odds to call and hit, so you're not getting value from a flush draw when you bet tiny. And as I say, you're not getting called by much that you dominate. I mean, these ace highs are calls, but they'll bluff you off on the river a lot of the time by representing a flush, and that's going to come about 40%. So basically, it makes sense now when I look at it. These hands don't achieve so much as a bet. 10s, I think, bets. 9s and 8s. I think these have more benefit of getting some more dominant hands calling, like 7s, 6s, 5s, 3s. Scarlet Void, hi. So hi Scarlet Void, and welcome, and hope everyone enjoys this. And that's it. If you click the link, GTO Wizard, and subscribe to it, you can get it yourself. But yeah, it's a great tool, and I'm using it to help understand my checking game. So like we say, going back to this hand here, I guess it's because the minute we bet, we just narrow down their range to either flushes, so flush draws, queen X's and trips. I'm going to make it a 4 of spades, and let's see if there's a difference now. If under the gun can free bet or not, because I thought can only free bet. I got confused if UTG and 6 math can free bet or not. I think you've just confused yourself there, mate. Under the gun is the very first person to act. And if you are the very first person to act on the table, then there's no way you can free bet. A free bet is basically when you faced a first raise. So, if under the gun did a raise, under the gun +1 would be able to free bet. But if under the gun folded, under the gun +1 would not be able to free bet. So I think you're just confusing yourself, mate. But the general rule is a free bet is basically when you've faced an action from someone else. And if there's not been any action from anyone else, then you don't do it. But yeah, you can still 4-bet, because the way it would work is you do a raise, the button has did a 3-bet, or whatever position's on a 4-bet. You can either now call, or you can 4-bet, or you can fold, of course. So you can do 4-bets because of the fact someone has did a 3-bet, and if they don't, you do it. But the real rule is, if you think about it, the way it works pre-flop is that it's no different to post-flop, but the person who has committed the blinds, that's the first bet, technically. So the first person to do a raise pre-flop is basically a 2-better. Then the one who does the next raise will be the 3-better. And then after that, 4-better. In post-flop terms, the big blind checks. Low jack would be doing the first bet. The big blind raise, so he has 2-bet a hand. Then the low jack's done another raise. He would be now 3-betting a hand. And then if the big blind did another raise, he'd 4-bet, and so on. So hopefully you can understand it. But back to this hand. And here's Queen 4-4 rainbow. And again, there's 34% checks. And when I look at it, what hands are checking? Ace, Jack, Ace 10, Ace 9. These middle hands, which do not make sense as a bet. They either get hands they dominate to fold, or they value own themselves versus the better hands. And they don't really gain much protection. So let's see the difference. I mean, when you look, the EVs are super close. But the clear thing from it, I think the sign of that there, the clear thing from it is that if our hand doesn't need protection and that, it can just basically bet. So we check. So let's have a look now back to this. So my actual hand is 3. I imagine this will be doing some. Here. And Scarvoid, thanks for the follow. So let's have a look. Ace 3. We don't have suits to the board. That's one rule. And let's have a look at it. Make that 4 a 4 of diamonds. As we say, we don't have suits to the board. So let's look. Still, we are pure betting. Ace 5, Ace 4, Ace 3, Ace 2. Hands which are wrapping around the 4. Ace 6, we start needing the suits. Ace 8, Ace 9, again we start needing it. And then, when I look at these, now we don't want the suits. Ace King doesn't do with the diamond. Ace Queen, that's value. There's Ace Jack. Spades, clubs. Ace 10. Spades, clubs and some diamonds. Ace 9. Now it becomes the value hand. So let's see what's the worst ace that's calling. Aha. Ace 9 to Ace King. For sure, Scarlet mate. I have a good game. I'm now trying to become more well organised with my checking game, mate. I've seen how much focus I have with my betting game, and I'm doing it with the checking game. And so this one here, when I've looked at it and stuff, I was in all of these spots doing too much clicking, just clicking for bets, and I was doing too much clicking as checks. But I now want to start understanding how checking ranges work and that'll help us both be able to have a better gameplay as an aggressor and understand when I should check back, and also when I see my opponents check back on flops and I'm in the big blind and want to probe the turn, I think, what are they checking back, or what would Phoebe check back? So looking back at this hand, Phoebe would check back jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s, and it checks the middle ace X's back. So therefore, when I look at it, the weakest ace X that's calling pure is basically ace 9. So therefore, when I look at these value bets with ace, ace 10, ace jack, they love to have the spade varieties because they get max. Ace 9 and ace 8, these start now having a bit of the blocker ones. And then the ace 5 to ace 2, I think them ones are basically easy at betting because they can get plenty of worse. So I've missed a bet there and I'm weak. Right, and now this is an interesting board, and this is the one I've already just studied. But will there be checkbacks here, and why? Well, I believe there will be some checkbacks here, and I believe the reason there will be some checkbacks here is because my Queen X's do not achieve anything as a bet. This board certainly favours in position over the big blind, and let's have a look at it. But it's one of them boards I believe we check back because Queen X doesn't really achieve much as a bet. It's basically just getting hands it dominates to fold. And let's have get the board right, you silly fool. Ace with ace of diamonds, queen of clubs, 5. So I'm going to screw this down up and switch the heating off. I'll be a couple of seconds. Don't know why the hell that's on. But here we go. Right. So it's actually a range bet on this spot. And let's see then, what's the weakest call by the big blind? All of these 5X's. You know something? I think maybe when I look at it, it makes sense. There'd probably be more checkbacks here if I'm in a middle position than a late position. If I am in the high jack or in the low jack and I see ace, queen, 5, I think then I'll do more checks. I mean, we'll put it up again to show what I mean. But what I'll do is I'm going to make it low jack versus big blind. Here I'm pretty sure we will check back on ace, queen, 5. But I think the difference is now we just don't achieve out. Am I going to be wrong? No. Now we start finding checks with queens. And when I look at it, what is the weakest call? Now it makes sense when you look at it. So we could put both of these up together, either side. So first off, the button one at this side, and then the low jack. And so of course we're looking at this board here and checking back, and there's the button. It's betting everything to a degree at 25%. Low jack, however, it finds some checks, and when you look at the 25% size, you can see why. The big blind doesn't fold any pocket pair, and it's calling these trash king 9s, like king 9 with spades and no diamonds, king 8 there with a low diamond, king 7 a low diamond, king 6 a low diamond. Jack 9 there with a diamond, Jack 8. But over in this spot here, 2s, 3s and 4s are mixing as folds and stuff. If they have a diamond they call, but the non-diamond folds. King 9 there with a high diamond calls, but the rest fold. These King 8, King 7, King 6s, even with the diamonds they start mixing as folds. And that, there's not many Queen X combos in the range either, which is another thing. Because when you look at it, I mean, Queen 8, Queen 9 there, why do these want to bet when they're not going to get called by worse Queen X's? So, therefore it makes sense. We can see bet our range on Ace, Queen, 5 when we button versus Big Blind, because the Big Blind's got lots of Queen X's, it's got some 5 X's, and it's also calling a lot of King High. But if you're in one of these earlier positions here, then it makes more sense to check back your Queen X's, especially your weaker ones, because at the end of the day, they are not getting called by worse hands. Oh no. They are just basically going to be making the hands they dominate fold and value on themselves versus hands they dominate. And the number one rule again, flush draws do not count as value calls, because when you bet Queen X's and get called by a flush draw, you're not making money versus them in the long run, because if the turn card is a non-pairing turn, so any other turn apart from a queen and stuff, or if you've got Queen 9 and 9, then you're going to check back the turn, and then on river you're either going to bluff catch or check back again. So in other words, flushes are going to hit most of the time, because they will improve either on the turn or on the river 40% of the time. And then there's the fact that Queen of Diamonds is bad, 9 of Diamonds is bad. So if you've got Queen 9 and the Queen of Diamonds comes on 9 diamonds comes, there you go again, boom. So it makes sense doing more check backs in these spots, and that's despite having a more dominant range. That's the other thing, you look at it there, the range is even more dominated. So I should have bet there, but it's okay to check back in earlier positions. I mean, I'm skipping that because that's small blind. Now then, right, now this here, again, part of me questions if this would be a board where you could have 2 sizes, a big size and a small size. If I only have one size, it feels like pocket threes could fall into the check back range. But part of me questions 2 sizes, because me 8x's can gain value now, get value now and deny equity and stuff. Me low pairs can do that. Me 8i can get lots and lots of value as well. But there's also things like pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks, ace jack, they want to go big. So let's have a look and stuff. It's 100 big blinds deep. Big blind versus button. And will people be expecting bets? And could it be that we do it? I'm going to test with 1 bet size first. And stuff. So, Jack. What the hell's it doing? Loading is taking longer than usual. Please be patient. Come on, man. Get a move on, will you? People want to see this now. But that. Anyone think we're doing this here? What else GTO was it taking so long? Have I already ruined it? So I have to reload it. Sorry folks, but don't know why it's doing this. It's a stupid technology. It's getting too worn out because I've been studying it all day. I imagine that's what it is. It's getting too worn out. So get this board up. Come on. Eliminating that. Finally. Right. So here we go. Even with two sizes, there is some checkbacks on this flop. Right? I start poker, mate. I play online poker now for a living. It's become me full-time thing now, poker. And I play Thursday till Monday. I do a grind on stream on Thursday where you can see us play. And actually results. I haven't fully updated, but you can see me results and stuff. But yeah. So Jack 8-5 rainbow is this flop. And there is some checkbacks on it. And when I look at it, what checks back? We check back capped. That is the rule here. All of these value hands there. Look at that. Premium pairs, there's like a tiny bit of pocket aces checking back, but nowhere near as much as it would be on something like 6-6-5. Kings is pure. Ace Jack, King Jack does do a lot of betting. So we don't check any set. We don't really check any two pair. As far as over pair goes, they mostly bet. Top pair, again, we are mostly betting here. We only check back a few, like these very bottom ones, and a couple of them. Under pairs, they start to check. Second pairs, again, we mostly bet them. We just check back a few, and it looks like it's the draw orientated ones that want to check back. Queen 8 makes sense because we block Queen 10, Queen 9. The same with 10-8. We block 10-9, Queen 10. 10-9, 9-7. Then we block 7-6, 7-4. And there's also reverse implied odds with these, because if these bink a two pair, after betting the flop, the imposition, so the big blind range is going to be more dense around a straight. Whereas Ace, 8 and King 8, these ones here can do more betting. Especially the diamond variety, which even has clear two pair outs. So yeah, we just do that there, and there we go. Third pairs, of course, we're doing a very load of checking back, and again, it's these ones here which have that reverse implied odds issue. King 5, if we have a diamond, we'll bet it, but if it doesn't have a diamond, we check. Queen 5 there, if it can turn a backdoor flush, we'll bet. 10-5, if we can turn a backdoor flush, we can bet. And my guess with these two hands is Queen 5, 10-5 with a heart are the best at handling a check raise. So let's just see. I predict it's because these can basically handle a nice check raise versus a bet. Well, well, spot on. Queen 10 does pure call, but look at the EV, 1.95 for Queen 5 with heart, 0.34 for queen 5 with a spade, 10-5. If it's got hearts, it's calling. If it doesn't have the backdoor flush, it folds. And that's also, you could say as well, another benefit with the king. King 5, the king of diamonds, can handle a check raise. Here, the one with the heart, 0.66, so it's not so effective, but they still do call it. So, again, makes sense. Basically just think about checks and stuff, and then with these pairs, when I look at it and stuff, so there's the third pairs and then the low. These very bottom ones here, they mostly check apart from the very crappers, and I guess it's because there we can bet big with pocket deuces and we'll already start folding out some stronger pocket pairs. So let's just see. Go on there. Exactly. So pocket 7s, pocket 6s, pocket 4s and pocket 3s are already starting to fall. So when you look at it like that, again, it makes sense why pocket 2s can do it with diamonds. It's got 2 outs, it can still possibly rep a flush, it gets maximum value from draws, and it starts to fold out some more dominating pocket pairs. Whereas if you bet pocket 4s, you fold out 3s and 2s and stuff, you value on yourself versus pocket 9s and 5x's and that, and you only make a couple of hands fold. So my hand is fine as a check back. Good to see. Right, now when the 9 comes, this is where the next thing comes interesting. Think about my check back range. I check back weak jack x's, 8x's and 5x's. I also will check back some draws, like some queen 9, some king 9, ace 9 can do it, so I do have 9x's. And what about this range here? He has certainly not got jack x's very much. He should be doing a lot of betting with them. So I believe we can do some betting on this turn. Will my particular hand bet? No, I highly doubt pocket 3s will bet, because at the end of the day, all that's done is it's just value on yourself. Unless of course we want to bet the turn and realise our equity. So check check and a 9 of spades. And this mistake's right. The big blind should do a lot of betting with jack x's on this flop, on this turn. Oops, sorry about that. That was after I bet the flop and big blind called. I don't think I've ever seen a check. So there you go. Top pairs there. Most top pairs are betting on this turn. There's some check backs, but most of them are bet. Even second pair does a lot of betting on that turn. Some third pairs, now they become the checks. And here we go. I check 100% here, but I should be probably checking a lot less in there. So 62% does checks. Pocket 2s, pocket 3s, pocket 4s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s. So when we look at our checks and that here, what value hands are checking back? Basically, low pairs are doing the check backs. Pocket aces doing it, and we guess with pocket aces is that's the ace highs and stuff. Ace 9 is the 9x that checks back. Some 10-9, but when you look at it overall, every jack x that's checked back the flop is more or less going to now bet the turn. Pocket 10s is now betting the turn. Our jack 9 that's turn 2 pair is doing it. 8-7 and 7-6, which have become now high equity draws, are betting, It may seem weird, but there, against these, look at it and look at that size, 100%. And what's the response? Well, when you look at the response, it makes sense. King 8 and Ace 8 is starting to fold, actually. But there's Queen 5, 10 5, 7 5, 6 5 still calling. And when you look at it like that, you're thinking, now it makes sense for us to bet our 8-7. We get more dominating 8x's to fold. We get value from 5x's with a draw. So yeah, it does make sense now betting our 8-7. Aye, but as for my particular hand, it's checked. And then the 4 comes on the river. Right. Well, again, he's checked. Is it worth betting now? Again, I don't think it's worth a bet here. I mean, he should be betting every Jack X, and most of his 9x's should be betting. 8x's could check, 5x's, and he's got some 4x's. So, I don't believe pocket threes will achieve anything as a bet on that river. Is my prediction right? So, I said it. Jack X should never check. Stronger 9x's are mixing. The third pairs like to block. And then the low pairs check. And there we go. Pocket threes, it doesn't achieve out. My weakest value hand is the third pair. And the second pair does it as well. And it makes sense, because at the end of the day, he shouldn't have Jack X's in his range. And if he did go check, check, check with Jack X's and stuff and didn't raise, I would just note the guy and say he's really weak. But yeah, that was a nice play. So now here's the one. Jack 4-4. Is there going to be check backs on this board? I am pretty sure you will do some check backs on that board. The big blind has got 4x's in its range and stuff. We don't have 4x's. We've only got the Jack X top pair. And therefore, I believe for sure there'll be some check backs, because there'll be middle and pass of their hand, which basically either value on themselves versus the better hand, or get value on versus worse. But let's see now. So I'd estimate about 40% check backs could happen on this Jack 4-4 board. And let's see. To be at 40%, I would say. I don't really know. But wow, bloody hell. Again, I've nailed it. Wow, 40% check back here. And one of the rules, of course, when we look at all our check backs, we are checking more uncapped, because when we look at the ranges and stuff, here we go. Big blind's got premium ranges there. It's got the trips advantage over us. I mean, it's got a trips advantage over us there. See? So, yeah, we want to check back a bit more uncapped. These pairs here don't achieve out as a bet, because they've got Jack X's as well. Ace highs, of course. The rule is we cannot overcheck ace high. We have to do some betting. And I mean, it's tough to look at it, but ace 5 seems like a good one to bet. And it's diamond, spade, club. So which ones do the most? Another way of looking at it is, if you've got a heart, then you do more checking. Unless, of course, when you look at these are value bets. Stronger aces will do it with a heart. As we look at that, I mean, they're still calling everything there, but when we look at the kings, they start to be folding more, unless we've got hearts. So it's hard to think, but these here are your premium value hands, so they do it more so with a heart, and it could be because these might be able to do more betting on turns or bluff catch more easily on rivers. And these here, which are your weaker ones, them aces probably do more betting when they've got a suit matching the board itself. So in this game, what you could say is ace king, ace queen, you'd bet them with a spade because they can do more value betting on the flop and get more bluff catch value on river. Whereas if you've got ace 8, ace 7, there you'll probably want to do more checkbacks with the spade variety and more bets with the non-spade variety, because therefore those can do more barreling on later streets. I mean, we don't have queen 8 in our range, but let's see which queen would bet. I think you'd want the suits. Well, there's queen 9, it's pure betting. And if I went on to add queen 8 into the range, you probably would see it. The bottoms of our range start to bet the most densely. So we look at all our offsuits here. How do the offsuits play? I mean, king queen, that's the middle of our range. Ace king, ace queen, they're the value bets, ace high. There's queen 8. I should be pure betting queen 8. Queen 9. It certainly does it with the suit varieties. Then the ones which don't have a suit like to mix. Queen 10 becomes a bit more dependent on suits. Queen jack's value. King queen, the non-suit varieties do it. That's, I guess, because that's your middle hand. King 10, look at that. Hearts do the most checks. King 9, again hearts. And these are basically the parts of the range whereby you just want to barrel the turn. So ace highs and the king high do it. But then these ones here, these are like your trash. So basically you do most. And there's the 10. 10-9 is doing it with that. 9-8 pure. And in the suited region, I mean, let's see, how does spades do in a suited region? There, looks like we do it most of the time with it. 7-6, 6-5, which has got more interaction around the 4, does more betting. Queen 6, Queen 5, there. King 3. And I think it makes more sense when you look at it. King 6, King 5, what happens? Well, we block an extra combo of 6-4 and stuff. Therefore, there's a bit more barreling when we can turn our draw or whatever. Let's say I'll do a call, make a 6 on the turn. Well, what's our ace 4 and king 4 doing? See? Well, there's queen 4 betting, king 5 does a bit, king 3 is doing some bets, queen 3 does some, king 2. So, and then you've got these, the 7-5 there does some. And if I make it a high card there, let's see what we do now with our ace high, king high with a crap suits. So there's king 5 doing bets, king 3, ace 5. So my guess is that, yeah, we can just barrel more easily on turns and we can get dominating hands to fold. So I should have bet that flop. So it was a blunder. Here, this here is So that's 3-bet pot, so that's a different spot. This one, right. Will there be checkbacks on that board? I don't think there should be any checkbacks on that board. This range basically has got only a few Queen X's, but we've got the Queen X advantage to us. And there's not a massive trip advantage for your opponent. So, Queen, Queen, 5. I think it's bad to be checking back on Queen, Queen, 5. If it was Queen, 5, 5, it would be different. But Queen, Queen, 5, nah. Right, navigating the nuisances. Yep, so I got it wrong. Let me say. I mean, when I look at the range now, the big blinds range is either trips or trash. That's all the big blind has got. Trips or trash. I mean, when we look at hands there, the big blind has got trips there, but then it's not got much in the way of over pairs, under pairs. It's got then 5 X's here, but they're weak value. No third pair. Then of course it's ace high. So it makes more sense. I mean, the other thing is, we have got the nut advantage over our opponent with this trip spot. So it's not like Queen 5, 5. I mean, what I'll do is I'll again run a second one, and I'm going to put 2 up. So this time Queen 5, 5. So the 2 low cards. There you go. Now when you look at the difference, so on Queen, Queen 5 there's no checking, but on Queen 5, 5 there's plenty of it. When you look at the ranges, there we go. I mean, this blue line is basically the big blinds range, and it's either Queen X or shit, and basically we've got an advantage over the Queen X. Whereas here it's different. The big blind's got trips advantage over us. It's got a high density of top pairs as well, and it's got some of these. So therefore it makes more sense. And when you look at it as well, what you could say is, it also explains another thing. Some people say, but he's also got 5 X's in his range. And yeah, it's true, he has got 5 X's in his range, so he's got 5 X pair. But if I've got 2 overs, I've got strong equity. Let's say I've got a hand like 10-9. That's got 2 overcards to the 5 X combos that's in the big blinds range. Whereas on Queen 5, 5, 10-9's got 0 overs to the 5 X combos. And some might argue, but the big blinds also got trips. But so be it. What happens? The big blind will be raising trips and that on the flop. Whereas there, we can see it just calls. And seeing like having that raise fold game makes it all more dense. Because Queen X's don't really achieve much as a raise here. Why would you Queen X want to raise? But there, you just play your 5 X's as a raise and all your Queen X's. It's a much more of a raise fold. And I think when I look at all that, it makes so much sense. Therefore, just bet. We just bet to realise our equity and stuff. If we raise, we easily fold. Here, we do not want to narrow down that range too quickly and put ourselves in 6th spot. What I'll do is I'll make I'll give a bigger raise size. See if I can make it so that the big blind is check calling. Will you now start calling 5x's? Hopefully it will. Yes. But we still just do that as a raise. And what if I do it here? I'm going to make it a littler size like the other range did have. Because this was check raising 25% size here. So now, Queen X's do more, but there's still a numerous amount of calls. And we still want to do a lot of check. And I think it does. It makes so much sense to me when I see this. Aye. On a queen, queen 5. Basically, our ace highs can bet. And that we can easily fold. If they call, we've got more outs against the 5. But on a queen 5-5, our weaker bluffs have got nowhere near as many outs and stuff. So you want to be a bit more careful. And so, again, it was a blunder by me. Right. 8-6-3. Now, will this board have checkbacks? I get the feeling it will. But what will be checking back on this board? I imagine it will be a capped range, the way I'm looking at it. Because the big blind hasn't got much nut equity in it at the minute. So, let's look at it. Here we go with 8 of clubs, 6 of clubs, 3 of spades. Big blind versus button. And what we're doing, looks like we're playing an or a better check. And I imagine, it seems to me like it's because at the end of the day, I guess all our eyes just want to do it. And how do we play it? We play it by checking back capped, like I said. 2 pair, never folds. Over pairs, never check. Sets, if it's a top set it does. There's a little bit of 6s doing it. Top pair, there is more checking with top pair, but basically just these weak ones that do it, like 8-5, 8-7. A bit with Jack 8 and 10-8. But yeah, it's a very, very capped range. Nowhere near as uncapped as it would be on Queen 5-5. And again, no rule. I cannot do too much check backs here with ace high. You want us to throw some darts, do you, Pricey? Oh well, go on. Well, let's see how it goes that Pricey then. You make us get a break from the thing I love. I love studying, mate, but okay. How many darts do you think it'll take to hit 101? God. Well, I've got 33. That's cracking. Oh shit, right up the board. Oof. God. 2 just near the 20. 1 just above the wire and 1 just below. And round the board, so that was 73. Fuck off, man, you idiot. Oh, piss off, man. Jesus wept, 2 more out the bloody board and 18. But still. 18 plus 73, 83, 91. Well, fuck off, you idiot. There. Well, I've got it there. So, I've thrown 11 darts is what it got. But I hit 20 and 1 on my last throws. There. I don't play much darts, like. That's the truth. I used to play a lot, but these days I'm too indulged in poker and study work that I hardly have the time. So anyway, I think I'll go and get a quick drink of Pepsi while I'm on the break. There we go. I've got some Pepsi. Yeah, class here. Haha, love it. Aye. So, let's get back. So he's saying here, there's got to be checkbacks, and I was right. But, again, would this particular hand check back? Ace 6 is my best 6x. I don't want to check back every 6x. So, let's have a look. And bang! There we go. My Ace 6 with a diamond and Ace 6 with a heart should be pure betting. And it makes sense when you look at it. Spades don't want to bet at all because those hands want blocking ace high backdoors. The club variety does some betting, and my prediction with that is that can possibly turn into a bluff. But the real 6x that wants to bet is the diamond and the heart, because them 6x combos will unblock every single backdoor. Because we bet 100% on that flop. And there we go, I mean, they're not folding to that size. They'd now be, they're not calling at all, right, looks like they'd be folding. But, I mean, if you did do it, basically you would be calling with the backdoor varieties first. So, yeah, it makes sense. And when I look at the ace high, hello there, ace king. The non-club variety of ace king will do some betting there. And that's because it's a value bet. Then the ace 9 with the club variety does the most checks. And when I look at it, aye, it makes sense. Ace highs, which are going to start folding versus the bet, and when we'll start doing it. So ace 6 there does some. Ace 5, spades, hearts in a club. Ace 4 of clubs, ace 2 of clubs. But ace king, we don't want the club because we want to get max value with that hand. And now, he's bet this turn. Well, Craig, you've got to call here on this turn. There's no way I can fold. I do not have many traps in my range because I check back capped on this flop. There's some 9x's, but there's not many. So this has to call. And then again, he's bet on that river. Well, this is a one of them ones. Again, we've bet the turn. We don't have many 9x's and stuff. The 4 doesn't improve us at all. This has to call, sure, some of the time. So I did do him, and let's have a look and see. So we've checked the flop and turn. Right, he's bet 50% on this turn. I'll increase that size. And let's see, what will be the weakest hand that will call this turn bet? What do you think will be the weakest hand? I predict ace 10 or ace jack, because ace 10's got a good shot, but ace jack or king queen. Well, no, actually fourth versus this size, but there's ace king sneaking in. Ace king sneaks in as a call, and ace queen can. But there we go. Ace 6 is never ever folding. And I guess we do have some 9x's. But it's called there, then the river, a4. And ace 6 there versus 67%. It's still a pure call. So good. Well, that's fine. I mean, he had a 9 there, but so be it. We've got to basically call our hand. Yeah, and this one doesn't count because it's small blind. I'm wanting to study big blind versus in position. So now this is an interesting board. Queen 8-6 monotone. Now there could be some monotones we bet, others we don't. But think about it here. We've got tons of air in our range. But the big blinds also got lots. To be honest, I don't have a clue. If we did have a checking range, I feel this would be in it. But would we check back here? I think because we've got ace high and king high in our range, I imagine we will have to do some check backs, because we've only got queen x's there. I mean, and the real worry is maybe we do not want to cause ourselves too much trouble on a later street. So I think even GTO Wizard's getting worn out by me. I'm probably getting it tired because it's getting tired of us doing this work. But again, folks, yeah, you should definitely give this a try yourself if you don't. And if you click the subscription below, you can do it. There, just click that link and subscribe to GTO by that. So here is our check back range, and it's a marginal one. But when we look at it, some flushes check back, sets are checking back, 2 pair, over pair. We are not checking back as uncapped as we are on that 8-6 deuce. I mean, here some pocket aces check back, there's some jacks. My hand, however, doesn't check back at all. And let's think here. Under pairs, second pairs. It looks like it's jacks has less protection need. That, I guess, is my way of working. 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s mix, but they do only with the club. But I suppose pocket 9s gains the most protection as a bet and can get max value from 8x now before an overcard rolls out. Whereas pocket jacks, I suppose, are happy for a 10 or a 9 to roll out, because at the end of the day, if a 10 or a 9 rolls out, some 8x and 6x might fall, but he's now got 10x's or 9x's in his range. So it makes sense why Jacks will do more checking. I think it's the same with this pocket aces and kings spot. Aces can check back because if a king comes, yeah, he'll fold some words, but now we've got other high card top pairs that call. Whereas with kings, an ace can slow down the action. So I think it's the closer it gets to that pair that's targeting, the more I think it wants to do a bet. And I see it a lot with these spots. When they do checkbacks with the aura pairs and that, the higher it is away from the pair it's trying to target, the more it checks. So aces targeting queen x's, therefore that'll do more checking than kings. Jacks, 10s, 9s are all targeting 8x's, so 9x's will do the most, jacks will do the least. And then you've got these lower ones here. These start to become your bluff orientated hands, as these will be starting to be ones that start to get folds. And when I look at it, it looks as though pocket 2s uses the big size, and that's because 2s can start making folds. Pocket 7s, pocket 5s, pocket 4s, pocket 3s. It is folding out these hands. It's also folding out 6x's. Small bet, however, it's useless to do it with 2s there, or 3s, because when you look now, it looks like 3s is the one that favours the smallest bet. But, I mean, nothing's much either, but the point is, basically, 2s loves to use the big size because, therefore, when we go for that big size, we can make him fold out 6x's, 4s, 5s, 7s, and basically 2's got the best fold equity out of pocket 2s, pocket 3s, pocket 4s and pocket 5s. So back to my actual hand, I should be betting this turn because it wants to target the 8x's as quick as possible. And now, on the turn, bet. I like this bet. If we're not betting the flop, I'm pretty sure now we have got to bet this turn. He can still have 8x's here. So let's see. But could he also have flushes? Could he also have trips? No. He won't have as many trips in his range. He won't have as many flushes in his range. Because they do a pro bet on the turn. And if your opponent is not going to pro bet that turn with flushes and trip queens, raise any pro bet that he does on the turn because he's just got all kind of trash, and call every single bluff catcher on both the turn and the river because he's not pro betting for value. So let's just see what would be the weakest hand that would bet that turn for value by me. I imagine some of my 8x's, because that's the thing I said there. Queen x's, there's not much checking with a queen. Flushes, again, there's a bit mixing with flushes and stuff, but like I say, trips aren't doing it, 9s aren't doing it much, and so here's my game. Pocket jacks, pocket 10s there. There is still some checks, but there's a lot of betting. Ace 8, there's pure bet. King 8, pure bets. 9 8, 10 8. So there's lots of betting here with second pairs. Some of our third pairs there, they're doing block bets. And of course, the slow played trips and stuff on the flop do it. And the flushes. So again, you just have to understand it. Yeah. And next up, he folds. Well, interesting. That's small blind, so again, it doesn't count. Right. 5, 4, 3, not 2-1. So here is a board I believe we have got to check back uncapped. Why? Because the big blind has got a strong connection with that board. It's got 7-6. It's got ace. It's got 6-2 suited, 7-6 off. We don't have any of them. We've got 7-6 suited. Big blind's also got 5-4 off. 5-3 off could be in the range. And in this day and age, I'm starting to now call 6-2 off, to be honest with you. But the point is, I think we'll have to check back capped. And how would we do it? Well, the less vulnerable my overpair is, the more it will check back. So I believe pocket aces, then pocket kings, and then pocket queens, but pocket sixes, pocket sevens, pocket eights will do the most betting. So let's have a look at 5-4-3 two-tone. And there, you can see from all the donking just how much good it is for the big blind. And there we go. Look at that there. Ranges are close. And so, as I said, we want to check back more uncapped. Straights are doing it. Sets are doing it. Two pairs doing it. Overpair is doing it. And there we go. So, there is a more uncapped range. And then, when we do it, how do we check back? Well, the closer it is to the top pair, the more we bet. Pocket sixes is the most heavy bet. Then comes 7, then 8, then 9. 10 starts to find checks. Jacks start to find checks. Queens are pure. Kings are pure. Aces a mix. And when it comes to 5x's, it works the same way by the looks of it. The top pair, the best kickers do the most bets, and I think it's because they can get the most value from worse and gain the most protection. And that. Just when we bet, ace high is not folding. So when I look at a queen 5, ace high is not folding and stuff, and some king high won't fold. And a queen is basically not so good. I mean, king queen calls a bit. Ace highs all call. We're not bothered about a queen folding because we actually dominate them. And there's not as much jack high and 10 high and 9 high. They becoming more like bricks. So it makes sense again. Ace, king. They get the most protection and stuff. And they can get the most value from worse. Whereas queen 5 does a bit check. Jacks for some reason now does betting. 8, I don't know why. But the point is, basically, the least vulnerable overpairs are going to do the most check backs on the flop. The most vulnerable overpairs do the bets. The strongest of our top pairs will do the betting. Our weakest top pairs do checks. And again, ace 4 there. We cannot check back every single ace 4. I mean, ace 4 is like pure. King 4 and queen 4 are basically the value hands. And then with ace 3 and king 3. I mean, there. It's the ones which basically can handle a check raise. King 3 and queen 3 with a diamond can handle a check raise. So they'll bet. Whereas a king 3 and a queen 3 without a diamond do not want to face a check raise. So they'll check. Whilst our ace 3 is our best one. And when it comes to offsuits, just look at it. What's the bottom of our offsuit range? 10-9, Jack 9, Jack 10. so they'll do the most betting. King Queen, however, is our best offsuit, excluding Ace High, so that'll do the most checks. And I mean, when King Queen does bet, looks like it's only the diamond variety. I don't know why. I mean, King 10 with a club starts to do it. King 9 with a suit. Queen Jack with some suits. Queen 10 with some suits. Then the Queen 9, the Jack 10, the Jack 9. Basically, even without the suits, they're doing it. And with the Ace King, it's again value bets. And then we look at these ones. Ace 8 with clubs does bet. Ace 7 with a club. Ace 5 is a value hand. But I think it's like all down to what's our middle Ace X's. Ace King and Ace Queens are premium Ace X, so they'll do the most checking. Ace Jack, Ace 10, Ace 9. These are our middling Ace X's here, so they'll do betting with a club. And then our weakest ones, any club can do it. And I guess it's because, again, the check raise. They do not want to check raise, so let's see. I mean, Ace King there, I think it's because Ace King hates the fold. I mean, so there we go. Ace 9, Ace 8, Ace 7 there. But as for my hand, it was terrible of me to check back here. Why should I be checking back? I shouldn't have checked back this hand because it wants protection and get max value from 5x's before a turn rolls out. Of course, a 4 rolls out, but even that is not that good a card. Because let's think about it. Now his 4x combos have become trips when you look at it. And he's bet that turn. Oh God, what are we doing? But we've got to call. And then on the river, well, it's interesting, but yeah. I think you could argue maybe I should have. But I mean, I put myself in that shape. Let's just have a look. So we check back the cutoff. The 4 of, well, it was. I mean, we'll have to make it the, what the hell? Oh shit. I'll have to change it to a 3 of diamonds actually. Because I need the back door. I imagine we could be folding the river. But yes, 6 will do it. I mean, there's a tiny bit of check button there. 4 of clubs would be on the turn, because that's the one matching the 5. Checks. No, sorry, I mean, he went for the overbet actually. I mean, so he's gone for the bigger size on that turn. There's no way we're folding 6 on this turn. Even Ace Highs I bet will be calling. There, look at that. Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace 9. Even Ace 9 is still a call on that turn. And Ace 6 is an easy one. Would we actually call this river? I mean, he's went there. So versus that size, 6 with a diamond is a bit of a call, but the non-diamonds can fold. But look at all that. Pocket jacks there without a diamond is calling. Pocket 10s. What I'm going to do is I'm going to exclude all diamonds from the range. So jacks there without a diamond calls. 10s there without a diamond is calling. Ace 9 is doing that. I mean, basically, we've got to call worth. So, yeah. Just bet the flop and let me say, if I'm going to do a check back the top ends of my range. Which, at least, vulnerable. And now here's the board. Again, this check back feels bad. Ace, Queen, 10. I get the feeling there should be no check backs on this board. And I think it's because even my 10x's will be played as a bluff on this flop. I mean, button cut off, hijack, low jack, mid position. This is what I think is the golden rule about this one. Ace, Queen, 10. I believe Ace, Queen, 10 is basically a flop where our 10x's start to be played as a bluff. If we were to have it where they didn't, 10x's would check back on that flop. But still, pocket sixes I don't think would, because they're the weakest pair in our range. But there's none. We just go big. And what I said was right. 10x's are played as a bluff because you can see already Queen high, sorry, second pairs are starting to fold. Even a bit of ace is starting to fold there. But it makes sense. When you just look at the ranges here, it is a gigantic, strong range there. I mean, the in position range here, under the gun, he's either got premium ace x's, king jack straights, sets, or high equity bluffs and stuff. So much of his range is so strong. And I mean, we look at the equity here of our top pair hands, or let's look at our second pair. Look at that, 44% EV. There you are. These here have already got less than 50% equity on that turn. 10x's, 37% equity on that flop. So they're just in awful shape. So therefore we just should be just range betting and basically playing our hand as a bluff and stuff. So yes, it's a bad one. And even when you check back, you can say, well, right, our range is so capped. Now, what do we do? Fold. Again, a small blind one. Now here's the board, and again, I get the feeling this will be a board I should check back, but in an uncapped way. If it's anything like what I've seen so far, something tells me pocket nines will do the most betting, pocket aces will do the most checks. As far as 8x's go, ace 8 and 8-7 will be the best 8s to bet. 10-8, jack 8 I think will do a check. So I don't think this is too bad. Anyone else think different? Aye. Hijack, big blind. One of these beauties I know of doing all of this and constantly saying the same stuff to myself is it becomes fixed into my head. When I'm saying all these works and stuff and chopping and changing, it's so well fixed into me what we should be doing and where. I've seen tons and tons of spots whereby I'm saying we check them back with the top pairs that are least vulnerable, sorry, the over pairs least vulnerable, and the over pairs that are most vulnerable do the most bets. When it comes to checking back second pairs, I'm always starting to see it. We check back a second pair that's basically least vulnerable. And when it comes to betting our top pairs on boards we check back, The ace and the king are doing it the most. Them middle ones do the most checking, and the weakest ones start doing bets for protection and equity denial. And the same with the third pairs. It's the ace and the king which will do it the most. Loading is taking longer than usual. Please be patient. No, I'm not patient in this. I want to get it going. I know you're tired out, GTO wizard, but bloody hurry up. I want to keep studying here. It's too good. Come on, man. 8, 5, 6. I am not trying to be exactly like theory. That's one thing I will say. But I just want to look for patterns. So, this thing I said about the top pair, least vulnerable doing the most betting. The top pair, most vulnerable doing the most bet, does it? So 9s wants to get max value from 8x's now, so it does the bet. Pocket aces is happy for his king rags, his queen rags to check, so he does it. We do of course check back in a more uncapped way than we would do on a board like king queen 3, because the big blind's got straights and it's got some equity shifts in its favour and that. And when I look at top pair, I said it, ace 8, king 8 does the most. Queen 8 and jack 8, they are mixing and stuff, and looks like the one matching the 5, but the heart varieties do the most. And this is what I should start thinking. The ones that can handle the check raise are going to be the best ones to bet. Because then you see, look at that. Diamond, heart, back door. And then the 8-7 there, the one with an undercard, that wants to gain the most protection and is starting to target 6x's and 5x's. So wants to bet now to target the 6x and 5x hands. Under pairs, I mean there's 7s doing some, but there's only one. The thing I said there about the a6 doing the bet, there we go. Third pair there doing it. And this is the other thing I say a lot. When it comes to the third pair, I think it's now more in favour of having the offsuit variety. And I think it's because these aren't so keen on facing a check raise. So we bet there, raise, I think it's, let's look at the EV. I think this is the, well, it's basically, well, I don't know what I think about it. It's quite simple really when I look at it. Ace 5 with clubs, it wants maximum value from backdoor floats. So you would use the club variety to do that. But yeah, there we go. So there's my jack 6. I should be betting my jack 6, but there is some checks. Right. He's bet that turn. Think, do I have many 7x's in my range? No. A lot of 7x's will bet that flop. So, do I check many 9x's? No. I don't have many 9x's in my range pre-flop. I could do it with some backdoor flushes, but this hand I'm pretty sure will have to call this bet. If I'm folding this hand, my opponent can bet any 2 cards. So let's make it the 9 of diamonds, because that's basically the same suit as the 6. And he's going for that size. Boom. We do not ever fold an 8 here. Like I said, if we go back to the flop, Hijack bets a lot of his 7x's now on this flop. He's also betting a lot of his 9x's on the flop and stuff. So really, there's even the Jack 10. So we've got to defend this hand. Nice. Now he's checked that river. Well, think. Now, what could check that river? He could do it with some 9x's here, because the Queen does improve some of our overcards, like our Jack 10, Queen Jack, Queen 10. And there's also not many 8x's, 6x's or 5x's in my range, so I think we should just check back this river. Aye. What did he have? King 2. I mean, should he even bet? No. Shouldn't even bet. And when you look at it like that, there's some I guess sometimes it's not as hard as you think to actually check back and bluff catch, because some opponents will overdo it. But anyway, he bet there. I've called. The Queen, of course, was, well, Queen of Spades. And what's happening? Second pair's there. Now, like I said, he should be checking them. Even his Queen X checks. So there's no way we'll be betting. And stuff. So, there we go. Interestingly, it does. But I guess where it does it, it uses the all in actually. It just wants to mimic Jack 10. I mean, that's sick there. Fuck me. Jack 10 all in. That is disgusting. But to be honest with you, I think it would be sickened. I mean, it would be a huge punt to do it in game as a bluff or whatever, because I mean, you've got to ask yourself, either your opponent has to basically fold 7x's or so. Nobody will be able to know if your opponent is going to fold a 7x or call a 7. Maybe if he did a bet, you could then shove all in, because I think it's then a bit more obvious, the Jack 10. But I'm not going to do that 3x shove. Anyway, so good. Right, that doesn't count because again it's a free bet. Right, 10, 10, 8. Well now, should I be checking back on this flop? Now, a middle paired flop is an interesting one. We do have the offsuit trips in our own range, so he hasn't got a trip advantage really. And the 8 is also it. I mean, we might want to get value from 8x's and ace high. So it's really an interesting flop, this one. I mean, if that was ace 10 10, I think there might be some checkbacks there. But when it's an 8, I think it's not. I mean, let's look at it. That's very big. Cut off there. And it's 10 10 8. Two tone. So if there is a check back, would my actual hand check back? This is rather day. Which flushes are best to check back? Probably the ones that don't want to handle the check raise. Mine is a premium one, but it doesn't have showdown. Let's look. Anyway, we shouldn't have did any check backs here at all. And is my logic correct? I'm going to make that ace 10 10. Now I think there could be some check backs. Yes, Exactly. And again, it's this thing. I mean, so when I look at the ranges and stuff, I'm going to compare both ranges in both positions and stuff like that. The ace 10-10 and the 10-10-8, they're both going to be rainbow. So the way you look at it here, I mean, we've got a stronger equity advantage over the big blind on ace 10-10 than we have on 10-10-8. I mean, we look at the EV of the range. The big blind is 32, the cut-off 67 for the ace 10-10. But on 10-10-8, the big blind's 37, the cut-off is 62. So there's a 5% stronger range advantage on ace 10-10 than 10-10-8. But we do more checkbacks on ace 10-10 than 10-10-8. I wonder why that is. Well, I get the feeling again, it's because these hands, kings, queens, jacks, tens, nines, and weaker ace x's, they don't achieve anything as a bet because they either way ahead or way behind. And they don't gain protection, especially not kings, queens, and jacks. Because, again, even nines to the figures. I mean, we bet this flop there. Let's see. King highs a call. Some queen highs are calling. Even some jack high like jack 9 there calls and stuff. And with a 9 and that, we start to block the king 9, queen 9, jack 9, which is folding. And that. And I mean, there's not really the pairs either. So once we get called, we just think, oh, what the hell do we do now? But here on 10-10-8, I mean, 9s want to get value from 8x's before a turn card rolls out and slows them down. Because an ace, a king, a queen, a 9, they are horrible cards for the 8x region and stuff. So yeah, 9s want to do more betting. And then the lowest cards, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, these want to charge ace high and king high while they're ahead. Whereas again, you say, even these low ones aren't going to achieve much and stuff. Because I mean, there's not many king highs call. I mean, there's a bit betting with 2s and 3s, but I imagine that's going to be to turn into bluffs on later streets or whatever. And that gains maximum protection if you think about it from every single high card in the range. So again, it's no. If the paired board includes 3 high cards or 1 high card and 2 low cards, there's more checks. But if there's not one high card and 2 low cards, or basically something like middle, like 10-10-8, there's way more betting, and that's because there's more reason to target the 1 pair value hands before a turn card rolls out. So it was poor by me checking with that 9-7. Let's just keep on going. Now the cut-off does that. Of course, it'll probably be different on 8-8-5 maybe. This is where there might be more checks. But the difference with 8-8-5 is big blind has got 8x offsuit. Cut-off folds 8x offsuit pre. So I think these will do more checkbacks. Come on, man. Hurry up and get a move on. Away, man. Oh, man. I think GTO Wizards is getting worn out by me. I love studying so much. And this is what helps my game. I think it is worn out. I mean, oh my god, how's it gone? Oh god, don't tell us. Looks like it's bloody problems. Oh man. Oh, thank god. Well, so there. 885. Well, looks like there is a lot of betting still, but you can see it starting to creep in. And that. And I think it's because, when we look at it, the big blind starts to gain a range advantage over trips. I mean, what's the weakest high card the big blind calls? The 7x and 6x. So I think maybe it's going to really start showing, like, that'll be when it'll really start showing. So there's still some 8x's. So 775, that'll be when there'll be really checks kicking in. Because we don't have them in there. So I think this is a good note to make down. If it's high, high, so if it's high, low, low, or high, 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 or low, 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 whatever, then you want to check back paired boards. But if it's high, high, low, middle, middle, low, you do betting range, because basically there you've got, when it's high, high, low and stuff, and middle, middle, low, you've got tripax advantages over your opponent, and they've got one pairs that you want to target. Whereas on high, low, low, and high, 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 and low, 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 with the low, low, low boards, your opponent has got both the trip advantage and the top pair advantage. And on the high, low, low, basically you've got the top pair advantage, but your opponent's got the trip advantage, and your marginal value ones don't achieve anything as a bet. And on high, high, look, high, the same principle. I mean, if it's ace, ace, 10, it's fine. But if it's ace, 10, 10, that's the one. So I should have bet there. It was a blunder by me. Here, I check. And I think I like this check back. The big blind doesn't do that badly on this flop here. And the rule I've seen so often, our least vulnerable overpairs are going to do the most checkbacks. So pocket 10s should do the most betting on this flop. Ace 9, 10 9 should do the most betting. Ace 8 with the back door will do it, and I think ace 6 without the back door will bet. Let's just see. So it was bank off, hijack, low jack, mid position. Right. Under on +1. And it's 60 big blinds. Anyone else think differently? On a board like 9, 8, 6. So ace kings, I think will be checks. 10s, I think will be bets. Ace 9, I think will bet. 10 9, I think will bet. Ace 8 with a backdoor will bet. Ace 6 without backdoor will bet. So like we said it, aces and kings, they do the most checkbacks on that flop. Pocket tens is betting. Ace 9, king 9 do the most bets. 10-9 does more betting than jack 9 and queen 9. And then the ace 8, I said it, the ace 8 with the back door will do it. The ace 6 variety without the back door will do the bet. And these low pairs, I didn't mention them, but they will check. But you see, this is the pattern I'm starting to see more and more. And every single time I'm doing this study work and stuff, or chopping and changing boards, it is starting to get fixed into my head. So when I grind and I see a connected board, I start to saying to myself, we bet our most vulnerable overpairs the most and check our least vulnerable overpairs the most. When it comes to betting second pairs, we want to bet the pair with the back door the most. When it comes to betting third pairs, we want to bet the pair without the back door the most. And when it comes to betting the top pairs, we want to bet the ones with the highest kickers and the lowest kickers the most. So, this here is fine. Now he bets. Well, he can have 7x's there. It looks scary. But I don't have 7x's in my range very much. My kings has got to call here. So that is dreadful by me. Oh my god. I mean, honestly, he has got to. You could argue people sometimes stuff, but look at that other guy. He bet on a one card straight with king 2. So yeah, I think we've got to call here. And how much EV have I lost by folding? This is the other rule. You've got to be prepared to do it. I mean, we look at the big size. And there we go. Pocket kings is a call. 0.76. And if it goes a small size, 3.79. So that's massive EV loss there. Right. 3-3-2. Now would this board have check backs? Well, it's a low board, so you'd think so. But there's a difference. It's a super low board. The big blind won't have many 3x's in his range, and he certainly doesn't have many 2x's. So it's more or less just a blank board. And therefore, I believe there'll be a range bet this board. So I don't think this is a very good check back by me at all. I mean, 30 bigs, hijack versus big blind. Right. So, come on. 3-3-2. Anyone think there's going to be range? Anyone think there will be checks? I don't think so myself. And yes, of course. And this is the thing. The big blind has not got very many 3x's in his range there. And stuff. I mean, he has got a trip advantage over us, but that can easily be broken down into us having a really strong overpair advantage. I mean, it's when we look at these equity advantage, you've got that 6% super nut equity and stuff. So of course he's got that absolute super nut equity advantage over us. But then look, all of these hands here, we've got a massive equity advantage over him with them and stuff. I mean, even our pocket aces and pocket fours there and kings, they are absolute premium equity hands on this flop. So it makes sense. We should just be range betting. And when we do bet, look at this. I mean, every king high is a call. Queen highs without back doors and stuff are calling. a tiny bit of Jack 9 even tries to creep in as a call. But that's the point. The point of it stands. Basically, I should have bet that flop. And me and I say, if it was 665, then there'll be some checks, I believe. But there's a difference. 665, the big blind has got a strong trips advantage. So there we go. Like we say. And therefore now ranges are more closer overall. And there's that trips advantage for the big blind. And that. But yeah. 662. It'll even be interesting to see if even that there could be some checks. But, well, no. Now it's betting. But I guess it's because the 2 is a brick. I suppose when we look at ranges there, big blind has either got trips or shit. Or trash, I should say, sorry. But yeah, when we look at it, equity buckets advanced is either got the absolute super nut range there in the big blind, or he has got the trashy range here and stuff. So it makes sense there why we just do bet a lot more. He hasn't got that middling range advantage which he's got here. And there you go, 5 X's. And there's draws and stuff, so it's another poor check by me. Ace, so Queen 10-9. I don't see a reason to check back this board, if I'm honest with you. Our 10x's want to get value from 9x's, and we haven't got much 10x in our range if I think about it. Basically, we don't have many 10x's, 9x's and stuff in our range there. We just over pairs plus, and the 10x's we do have in our range are the best 10x's, which is things like ace 10. So therefore they're happy to bet for value. There might be more checkbacks here if you button versus big blind. That's me thinking, because I think the button starts to have 9x's in his range which just don't achieve much as a bet. So let's see here. I'm going to put it on 2 sides. I'm going to test it. So button versus big blind, and the stacks are 100. And let's think about it. Queen 10-9. And this one, under 1+1 versus big blind, Queen 10-9. Honestly, it's a brilliant tool, listen, if you haven't got, you should get it. With trusters, it's so good, and I mean it can be boring sometimes to look at and you think, oh god, it feels boring, but it helps your game so well. But here we go. This is like I said it. Under the gun +1, we just bet our whole range. Button versus big blind, we check some hands, and it's because we have got these 9x combos which do not make sense as a bet, because really what protection does 9x's gain as a bet? Nothing. They just basically just fold out the dominating hands, which are the undercards and the weaker pairs, and value on themselves versus the stronger hands and the overcards, because Jack X and a King X is a gut shot basically. So yeah, there's more checks there, but here my value range is either top pair, premium second pair, or air. I mean, let's look at that. Ace 10, that's a decent second pair. There's a tiny bit of King 10 and Jack 10. Third pair, there's only a bit of the suited variety. Ace 9, of course, is a premium hand anyway. It's a flush draw. King 9. I mean, sorry, no, it's not. Sorry about that. The Ace 10 would be the flush draw. But Ace 9 there, it's premium. King 9, Jack 9, they've got gut shots in straight draws, so they're strong hands. We don't have any of these hands here, like these 10-8, 9-7. I mean, 10-8 you can say is a gut shot, but it's not a good gut shot, because if a Jack comes, the big blinds King X's are going to be given a stronger gut shot. And 10-7, 9-7, 9-8 there. Why do these hands want to bet when they just fall out worse and get value owned by better, and they don't gain protection? So yeah, when we look at that, makes sense now. Queen 10-9, under the gun versus button. So the under the gun versus big blind. We can just bet our whole range, because we've got the strong hands or bluffs. But Queen 10-9, big blind versus button. The button now wants to find some checkbacks, because it's got some 9x's and 10x's which do not achieve much as a bet. They just fold out dominating hands and get value owned by hands they dominate. And because of the overcards, there's not much value in protecting the hand. So again, that was bad play by me. King 4-4. I like this check back, of course. Could this be a good hand to check back? Well, that's where it is. We'll have to think. We cannot check back every ace high, is the only rule here. I can't check back too much, but I'm pretty certain there's going to be checkbacks on this board, because this range is 4x's or King X's, and therefore we don't achieve that when we have a Jack X. So you pocket jacks. Good job I don't have kids. I mean, I'm really. And I see it, like a lot of whinging next door. I've got new neighbours now, but let's look at this. King 4-4, about 40% check, I'd say. Bang. And it seems to be like that when I look at it. On a lot of paired boards, 40% checks. I mean, ace 3, mine, should be doing the most betting, actually. And so a good way of looking at it, let's think about it. Ace queen there. The club variety does bets, and then there's double suited variety. Now the club variety is checking, double suited bets, double suited high club. And then, of course, when we look at the middle ones, it looks like these are the ones where having the club variety is most important. And then there's these shittier ones and stuff which are getting the double suit. And then you've got the very bottom ones there. But looks like the key ingredient is low club is what's bad. We do not want to bet with a low club by the looks of it. The low club is going to do the checks for sure. And when it comes to high club, the middle ones and the premium ones are going to be the best value bets. When it's the lower clubs and stuff, we start wanting double suits. Well, that's very technical stuff. But now we bet, and now then, think out it here. Right, we've got pairs there, we've got king X's, but we've also got lots of ace high and some queen high. I imagine we've got to do some calls here. Our particular hand, could it be better with this? This feels better than an ace queen if I'm honest with you, because there's maximum bluffs in the range. So make sure it's the 4 of clubs. I mean, there should be no checking whatsoever when we look at it. And I guess it's because basically there's just too many chops, I guess. There. And we don't fold any ace high. There. Aye. So when you look at it like that, there's even some queen highs not folding. So go on, Craig. Nice. And I mean, he showed up with ace 5, but when you look at it even from his point of view, that hand, why is he betting an ace 5 on that turn? Why would you want to bet an ace 5 on that turn when you just value on yourself or chop versus a better ace? It might be a different story if, let's make that 4 a 3. Now, there'll probably be lots of bets. So, I mean, he goes there. But look at our ace highs. We still have to call the trashiest of ace highs. And the premium ones. 10s here. King, Queen, 2. I think I've seen this one. Actually. And this is one of them boards whereby, when you look back at it, we've got a massive advantage over the big blind on this board. That's certain. But we want to find checkbacks, I'm sure. And I think it's because our queen X's don't gain anything as a bet. They just fall out the hands they dominate and get value on by hands they dominate. So I imagine there will be some checkbacks here. And could our potential hand do it? Probably. The way I look at the under pairs, pocket threes will do the most betting. Pocket jacks is my prediction for the least. Because pocket threes gains the most protection and wants to get value from any 2x's now. Jacks, however, has least protection needed and can get value, is happy to allow 10x's and 9x's to catch up. So, let's see. Button versus hijack, 60BB. And the board is king, queen, deuce. I mean, it's spades there and stuff, so it might be different, but well then, da-da, there. Aye, so we have started saying now, and there, jacks does the least betting, 10s starts doing it, but once looks at it, the spade variety of the double club, I mean, looks like the double, well, the spade and the club hates it. I guess the diamond is bad, or there. So I think this hand would actually be a value bet here on the flop, and I think it's because no, actually that wouldn't. I mean, because it has the 10 of spades like the 2 of spades, so it would be like the 10 of diamonds here, and that would be like 10 of diamonds and 10 of clubs, or 10 of heart, 10 of spades. But basically it's one suit. So it would be one of these ones here. That's basically what it would be. There. And they do a little bit better, but they mostly check. 9s there starts doing more. 8s and some do. But there's these pocket pairs here. These are the ones which really start doing the bets. and it likes the big size, and I guess it's because it's at a bluff. Well, no. But yeah, I guess these gain the most protection, that must be what it is. And you've got maximum draws. Queen X's. The ace queen there, we don't want the spade. We want the, and when I look at the best one, well, interestingly now, diamond is the biggest one. Queen Jack, club, diamond, diamond, heart. I mean, there's the ace 2. With the ace 2 there, we don't want the one with the spades. And with the ace kings there, yes, this is the other rule, of course, which I didn't say. We are checking back a very capped range here. When we look at it, aces bet's pure. Ace kings is a pure bet. Kings is blocking value so badly, so it makes sense to check back pocket kings. Queens but bets pure. Pocket twos is pure. King queen's pure. Every strong king X is a bet purely. We just check back our weaker value hands basically. And the rule about the diamond varieties of second pair seems to stand. Queen 6 is first with a diamond, Queen 7 with a diamond, Queen 8 with a diamond, Queen now 9, sorry, that now starts to do a bit more mixing with its others. Queen 10, there it starts to do a lot more without it. Queen Jack is now pure, and there's the Queen Jack there. Queen 10, the non-diamond variety, but it's an offsuit hand. But yeah, there we go. So I found a good check back. Right, he's checked this turn and thinks about it. Right, he should certainly not be checking back too many X's. He certainly can't be checking 2x. But because of being a chop pot, he probably has to do more check back than he would do if it was, say, a 3. So let's look. I'll put 2 of hearts out. But yeah, king X's are never checking back really. So again, this is another thing I should be now looking at. And this can also be, you know, a thing I can start understanding about my big blind gameplay as well. If I see that my opponent is checking back on a board like king, queen, whatever, instead of checking back me range, I now start thinking, what is supposed to be is check back range on that flop. And so there we go. We bet every king X almost on the turn. The queen X's are checking. And therefore we look at these here, ace high. I mean, look at that. Surprise there. But I guess what you could argue is these ace highs basically are hands. These have got an overcard. Let's be honest, because in position is checking back capped. So the ace highs have got an overcard and they can make pairs fold. And we've got a 2x advantage. Now if it's a 3, now it might be different. So I've made the turn card a 3. Aye. Now we want to be more equity driven by the looks of it. King X's are still mostly doing bets on the turn. I mean, there's our sets betting. And these are pro bets for people wondering. Top pairs are doing the most bets. So there we go. There's more bet. And of course we're a bit more equity driven now. So I'm going to make a turn. And now the question is, when he checks what's going to be the weakest hand I'll be betting here. I imagine every king x that check backs that flop has to bet now. Stronger queen x's, if they check back, I think they'll do some bets. And bang. King 4, king 5. So, there's all my top pairs. They're more or less a pure bet. But we go for a small size. Why? Because the 2x is in the in position in the big blinds range. Top pair. There's some second pair. Ace queen doing it. Queen jack. Queen 10. Queen 9. Even some of our most vulnerable third pairs are again betting. And the ace high. Now we change that 2 and make it a 3. Again, I imagine we still bet with king x's. Every king x will bet. A lot of the stronger queen x will bet, but I think we'll check back more high cards. 10s. Here's there. So top pair, more or less a pure bet on the turn. Ace queen, queen jack, like I said. We're going to bet some of them on the turn. There is some mixing, of course. The most vulnerable of our marginal pairs are going to bet the turn. And then we've got a little bit of low pair there, but it's a backdoor variety. And there we go, some ace highs. Our trashier ones are betting. And let's just see. We use 67% size, and what's happened? We make some ace highs fold. So it makes sense when we do it like that. Yeah. So my hand, of course, is still fine as a check. And then this river, well, I imagine any queen x which is checked that turn, the weakest ones have got to now start blasting on this river. They would certainly do some blasting if that 9 was a 9 of spades or whatever. Because it's a flush, there might be a bit more. Pocket 10s could do some. But really, the big blind certainly shouldn't have king x's in his range here. And queen x's, nah, I don't think there's many. I mean, but let's just see. We check turn, and then the 9 of spades. Well, that would be the river hand because it's a flush. So there's still check backs with kings. But look at that, queen x aren't. So queen 10 there's betting, queen 10, queen 7, there's bet. And let's make that a 9 of hearts and see how that changes. So again, king x's, they do more mixing. Queen x is a bet. And what's me playing? I bet every queen x there, but 10 still checks. So that was a good play by me, and I like it. Right, so now this spot here, 9, 6, 4, I get the feeling, if I've studied this correct, we're going to be playing an overbet check type game on this board, and we'll check back a capped range. But I do not think there'll be small bets, and I don't think there'll be much check backs with premium value, apart from perhaps pocket 9s. So the 9, 6, 4. It might seem boring to some, but this is the sort of work that you've got to do when you just want to crush this game. So let's have a look there. There is some check backs. Got that theory right. I mean, we're not checking back as capped when you look at it. I mean, 10's pure bet, jacks is mostly betting, queens is mostly, kings is mostly betting, aces, even aces. There's a lot of bets with aces. Pocket 9 does some. King 9, queen 9. So the weaker 9x's do it. But there's the one thing I didn't say, which I forgot about. Of course, the 9-8 is going to do more betting than Queen 9 does. And I think it's, again, that 9-8 is our gains max protection and is our strongest of our top pairs with a dangler to the 9. And for anyone who's puzzled, what's a dangler? Well, a dangler is basically when a card is below what it's all at. So an 8, a 7, a 5, a 3, a 2, all of them would be danglers to a 9, basically. I mean, the true term of it normally is when you check calling in the big blind with back doors and stuff. You always say if you have a dangler to the board, you fold. But yeah, 9's there's doing it. And when we look at these, pocket 7s does more betting than pocket 8s, which makes sense because it's the closer to pocket 6 to 6x combos. 2's there does more than 3's, and that's basically the best one of the undercards to bluff. But we check, and when we come to these ace highs, I cannot be checking every single one of these hands, so I'll be doing too much. And with these hands here, yes. So now let's have a look. 5's there is perfectly fine as a check. Right. Now then, he's checked back this turn. He should not be doing that with 9x's. Most 9x's should be betting this turn. So, as for I have got a little bit of over pairs, and I've got the weak 9x's and some 6x's. So I'll be doing some bets. And actually, let's think which 6x bets on that flop. So going back to the flop, if my prediction is correct, well, I wonder if it would be the 6x with a diamond, which would bet this flop. The 4x without a diamond or spade, I think, would bet. So looks like it's a bit different there. But what was the turn card? A 2. I think any 9x that checks the flop has to bet the turn. Pocket 8s, pocket 7s have to bet the turn. So what's the top pair? Most of the top pair is being probed by the big blind. And there we go. Most of my top pairs now bet. Me 8s and 7s are now bets. Me ace 6 is a pure bet. King 6 is finding some bets. 6-5 and 7-6 bets a bit. So yeah. And as for my hand, I don't think pocket 5s will do much. But actually, I'm wrong. Even pocket 5s is doing some betting. And come on, now we've got a bet. This is not worth it, but yeah. 9-6-6. If there's a board that has check backs on its paired, this could be a board that'll do it. He does have a 9x, but he's got 6x top pair. But I don't think there'd be as much check back as there would be on an ace 6-6. I think ace 6-6 will be worse than 9-6-6, and I think there's a reason for that. Again, I think it's because on 9-6-6, some of our stronger pairs want to get value from his 9x's before an overcard rolls off and slows them down. Whereas on ace 6-6, we can easily get a value from ace x on a later street. So there is some bets, but there's the 42% check. And now make it the ace 6-6. I predict there's going to be more now. Yeah, and I'm right. That's like I'm saying. It's so much easier to get value from ace-x's on brick runouts because there's so many brick runouts, but on a 9 there's not. And so I mean, let's look at 766. How much will it be on this? 38%. So this is again showing it all the time. If it's ace 6-6, there'll be way more betting, so there'll be way more checks than 7-6-6. Aye, and yeah, 9-6-6. So now the question is our hand. Which flush would be better to check back on that flop? I imagine it would be double broadways that would be best. This could be interesting because we could get some value from draws. I think it would be king 2 that's the best bet. But let's have a look. Ace 3, ace 4, ace 5 there. King high. So it's these super double middle card broadways, double high card broadways and stuff to do it. And it makes sense when you look at it. These here can get lots of value from middle and draws and stuff. And over time we can fold out ace-x's. I mean, we bet there. We can handle a raise. But let's see. There we go. We start folding out ace-x's that we are dominated by. So the aces are clearer out. I think I'll make it a 4. I'll make it a 4 and then on turn, let's look. Now, I mean, we check. It looks like now we check the clubs and these ones do it. But yeah, I mean, these here fall out dominating ace-x's. I think these are the ones which don't achieve out. Ace and king and queen want to keep the king high and stuff in play. So I think they do it. Whilst those ones there, basically, they're happy to call a bet and they can easily get value if improved. And if it's not, they can just fold. So yeah, it was a bad check by me, this bot. Right. Here, 10-8-3. Feels close, this one. We have 10x's and 8x's. There's that. There's not much in the way of big betting, I don't think, on this board because of that 3. And I think, therefore, here it's going to be a range bet spot. And my hand actually is an awful check. If I'm going to have a check back on this flop, my prediction is Jack 10 and Queen 10 are going to be the most common top pairs. Ace 10, King 10, 10 9, they will all do the most betting on that flop. Ace 8, King 8 with a backdoor will do it, and the Ace 3 without it will do. So let's have a look. But I highly doubt there's going to be much bet checking at all because of that 3. Well then folks, let's have a look here and see. I mean, nah, there's not much checks at all. And just to be sure, what I'm going to do, I'll strip out that and I'll try and make it so there is a check back range. And there. Ace 10 never checks. King 10 almost never. 10 9 almost never. Queen 10, Jack 10 are the ones which start to find some checks. The Ace 8 is going to do a lot of betting. King 8 as well. I said about ace 3. I guess the clubs do it. I guess it must be different on two tones compared to what they are on rainbow. But the point is clear. Ace king and king 10. These should never be checking back on that flop. Nor should 10-9. If I'm going to check back a top pair, I should have a queen or a jack as me kicker. Basically, the middling hands. So that is a blunder by me. Flop here. Will there be check backs on this flop? Is the interesting thing. Interesting spot really. But nah, I don't think there will be much check backs on that flop. Because our 10s and our jacks want to get max value from 9 before a turn card ruins their action. We don't have weak queen X's in our range here on the flop. And we don't have 7X's. And we have draws, so yeah, I think I should be range betting. Blunt cut off, hijack, low jack, mid position. So, I'll compare it to button. So, and let's see the queen 9, 7 rainbow. And here we go again, queen 9, 7. So this one on the left is the button range. This one here on the right is under the gun +1 range. So let's start off with under the gun +1. Well, there is a little bit of check backs on that flop. Actually, there's my hand and it does it. But let's see here. My predictions is still there. But there, I mean, I guess there's either it's similar or we go small. I mean, if we were to strip it out and go like that size alone, there'd be tons more. Or if we give 25% to both ranges, and there'd be tons more check backs by button than there is under the gun. I mean, under the gun's range betting there, whereas there's a bit more checks. So yeah, I mean, my hand I think is fine as it is, but that's only if I'm actually going to be employing a big bet strategy on that flop. That's the golden rule there. We have got to employ a big bet strategy for that to work. If there's a big bet strategy going to be deployed on this flop, then it makes more sense for me to check back me king 9 hand, because at the end of the day we're implying a big bet. But if I'm going to be going small, then no, it doesn't make sense for me to be checking back hands like king 9, jacks and 10s. So I do question it, because to be honest, I'm probably not bombing a pot size bet on that flop anyway. And then the turn, that's awful by me. There's no way I should ever be folding this turn. If I'm checking back that flop and there's that 6, come on, this is disgusting. I'm really annoyed at myself. You see there versus that over, even ace 9 is doing, and that's versus 200%. I mean, there's a small over. Is king 9 folding? Nah. Let's see. King 9's mixing there, and that's like an overbet size. But point is, I made a dreadful fold because he's not used the overbet size. That in there is for a different study again because it's small blind. And this one, already I hate it. We cannot really check back that flop. Even if it is 10 big blinds, I mean, some hijack there versus big blind. No limps, just so I can ensure I have got it. And Jack 10. Sure, there will not be checkbacks, I'm pretty sure. Because I want to get value from 10x's now. And we've got trip advantage. There, so it's another stupid one by me. This board, I'm sure KXs could do it. But I think you'd have to deploy a big bet strategy. This board here. Let's see now. Right, 100 big blinds. Button cut off hijack. On ace, king 10. I mean, KXs could do some bets. And it depends whether or not we can make folds. You know, I think that's what's key here on this flop. Can we make folds by going big when we bet with our 10x's? But no, we don't do any checkbacks whatsoever. I guess the other way of looking at it is we don't have a weak 10x in our range, nor do we have a weak king x. King queen has got a good shot. King jack has got a good shot. King 10's a good shot. Queen 10's a good shot. So king 10's a 2 pair. Queen 10's a good shot. Jack 10's a good shot. 10-9 we fold pre-flop. King 9 we fold pre-flop. So therefore it's pointless doing checkbacks and we can bet the flop, and by going for a bigger size we already start making the king x's indifferent by betting bigger on the flop, and that the 2 comes on the turn, we can probably just go blasting away again. So there's our 10x is still going for it there. I mean, God, Queen 10 and Jack 10 gone. But it makes sense when you look. What's going to fold? King X's, even some Ace X's should be hating life. So it makes sense when you look at it like this. I mean, at the end of the day, we can start making some Ace X's fold and King X's. And if your opponent does call these in game, well, he's the fool, because he's just going to be value owning himself versus bluffs or versus the nuts. And so it's clearly a board which is great for the big blinds range. So the hijacks range. And I mean, there we just go for it. Look at that, all in on the river. Bang. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my hand really shouldn't ever have bet the flop. So it shouldn't ever have checked the flop. 9-2-2. A middle and 2 low cards is one thing, but the big blind has got no 2x's in his range. And I think to myself, this is bad as a check. I mean, my value hands are all happy to get value from 9x's. And he's not got 2x's in his range. So, it's another bad check. Mm-hmm. 9-2-2. I wonder how many more hands there are. There still doesn't. I think I might end it at this one here and stuff, because I mean, I want to get myself something to eat before me session with me coach. But yeah, it was a bad check by me, and it's like I said, it's because the big blind does not have very much in his range there. I mean, all the big blind has got here is garbage. There's a tiny fraction of value, but honest to God, I mean, let's make it a, even if we go for this size, a size and that would be falling. We'll go small. I mean, he's got a collar. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this studying stuff as I mean, it is getting to that time now where we've got to start learning to implement checking games. We can't just basically now range bet. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and so yeah, thanks to my viewers for tuning in. Thanks Scarlet Void for the follow, and I hope you enjoy it, and please click the GTO link if you want to get some GTO yourself. I'll probably be back for a poker grind on Thursday, and you'll be able to watch us put some of this study work into action. But for now, I'll finish and get myself something to eat before my coach session. But what I'll do is I'll pass you to Robin Poker for a raid. But yeah, thanks. So,